What is up, my friends? Another quiet day in the Liverpool world. Not much to talk about this evening, really. Oh, actually, hang on. Everyone's losing their damn minds. I am really angry with all of you, and let me explain why. When it comes to a situation that I have to be the adult in the room, the world's lost its mind. So I've come in here tonight to try to calm down the furore that's out there, to try and make people a little bit more relaxed, because what's been written, said in so many places today is, in my humble opinion, folks, comical. Do you really think that Liverpool are going to put one bid on the table and sail off into the sunset and just go, bye, thanks Newcastle, we tried guys, but come on. We're going to go through it tonight. We're going to tell you where we're at, what you can expect. We're going to talk about the information coming out from Saudi about the offer I told you would be forthcoming for Darwin Núñez from Al Ahly. So nothing to panic about there. And we're going to be looking at some of the Newcastle friendly media and, well, poking a few holes in their stories. I think that's the kindest way I can be about it. So tonight we'll take through it all. We'll answer any questions that you have. Of course, we'll have a little bit of fun along the way as well, as it wouldn't be an Anfield Agenda show without some laughs at me usually, but still some laughs nonetheless. So look, folks, tonight there is a lot to go through. Bear with me while I do a couple of super chats that have come in before I started, and then we'll get stuck into exactly where we're at with Isak. So let's start off with this one from Chad Huskers. How are we, dude? Appreciate you and thank you for the email. I will respond to you after the stream this evening. Happy Adidas Day. I spent way too much at the Liverpool store. I have to believe the club knows exactly what they're doing at centre-back. It's been too quiet, which makes me think they already have their player in mind. I didn't spend as much as I probably thought I was going to today, but still a very significant amount, and it is Adidas Day. And actually, while we're talking about that, it has been confirmed today that Liverpool have agreed a 10-year deal with Adidas. Everybody thought, including all the journalists, me as well, by the way, that it was going to be a 5-year deal, but it's actually a 10-year deal. Sources close to the deal reckons it'll be worth about £120 million a year, 60 million guaranteed, and then the rest through sales. And I would bet that we've seen some record sales today as well of those new Adidas shirts. So we'll talk about that tonight as well. Scott, how are we, dude? 17 months with us as a member. Absolute legend. Amazing kit launch video. Vert 7. I am buzzing. Yeah, it was brilliant. I love the graphics. Love the artwork. Love the way Liverpool did it. I'm really happy as well to see Florian taking the number 7. So, yeah, I'm a happy camper in that regard. Some other numbers, of course, we'll discuss tonight as well. Evening, Craig. So deflated by today's news. Why? What did you expect? Sincerely, mate. I don't know any football offer or any football situation that a first offer is accepted by any club. I've never really heard of it, unless you get to a point where you know what the offer is going to be and you've kind of agreed it before you formalise it. Don't be deflated by it. They're trying to make Liverpool out to be the villains now and Newcastle to be the goodies. And I'm going to take you through exactly why it's nonsense, exactly why there's some changing of stances from the likes of Craig Hope, who has been all over the shop with regards to his reporting. Somebody's clearly gotten in his ear to say, can you stop doing Liverpool's work for them, Craig, because you're making it a bit easy. And then he's backtracked a little bit. We'll talk about that. And look, journalists are going to be briefed on this from both sides. So it's no accident that you're going to see one side present one case and another side say, well, Liverpool, for now, have no intentions of making another offer. Come on now. Come on. Do you really think that they're going to just throw in a 110 million quid offer and then it get rejected immediately and just sail off into the sunset and go, well, that's it then. We gave it a good show. We gave it the old college try, but it didn't work out. Come on, lads. I'm going to talk you through exactly what's going on, what will happen, and why this is all just pure face-saving nonsense. We'll go through it all. Do you think there's a chance that Newcastle will sell Isak before finalising a deal with a striker? I've always said to you guys, I wouldn't expect them to sell until they have a striker lined up. I was actually quite surprised that that offer went in today, to be honest with you, because I would have thought we'd have to wait a little bit closer till Newcastle started to put in, have offers accepted for a few strikers. But I'll take you through some of what's been reported today. So let's start off with this. Where's the latest one? Where is it? This one. Where's Craig Hope's comments? Is it this one? No, it's not that one. I want to just take you through some of the nonsense that's been written late in the day. So where are we on this one? Not that one. Right, this. Craig Hope. Now, I don't know Craig Hope from Adam. I have nothing against the man personally, and I think his coverage up until today had been pretty on the money. But today, somebody from Newcastle must have gotten into his ear, because this is bollocks of the highest order. He said, exclusive, Newcastle United baffled by Liverpool's £110 million low ball bid for Isak, 10 million below the informal offer. Sources believe they've strung along the striker, anger at the conduct and suspicion that Liverpool have bottled it. Sympathy for Isak, feeling he's been badly advised. Right, 2 words for this. Fuck off. Quite frankly, mate. Just stop. Let's break this down. Newcastle baffled by Liverpool's low ball offer. So firstly, we're calling £110 million a low ball offer. That's where we're at now, is it? £110 million is a low ball offer, first and foremost. But I thought he wasn't for sale. So which one is it? Do you have a price and he's for sale, or is there no price? It's absolutely comical seeing these lads trip over themselves to talk shite. Next up, we've strung along the striker. Hi, my name's Craig. I'm here to spread some truth. The only people who've strung along Isak is Newcastle. When they didn't give him a new deal, when they broke promises to him. And like Craig Hope himself reported yesterday, Newcastle players have been talking, football has been talking, and the vision that has been sold to these players hasn't been lived up to by Newcastle. So if anybody's doing some stringing along here, Mr. Hope, I would dare to say it's probably the Geordies, not us, who've come in with a huge offer that they're absolutely within their rights to rebuff, but this suspicion that they've bottled it stuff is an absolute joke. Newcastle fans are going to get a masterclass in Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes negotiations, and Liverpool will sign Isak. Whether it's this window, next window, the window after that, it's going to happen. Newcastle are shooting themselves in the foot, and it's comical to look at this from the outside. Now, to my Liverpool fans in the chat, calm down. Don't panic. Don't buy all this bullshit narratives. There is only one outcome that's going to happen here, and that is Isak joining Liverpool. When that happens, that is up for debate. Could it happen in this window? It will, in my opinion, but that is just an opinion. I want to take you through some of the shite that's been written. So there was a post on a forum that caught my eye. So basically, I think this summarises Newcastle's position. So Newcastle were annoyed with Liverpool talking about making a bid. Then they were annoyed because Liverpool hadn't made a bid. And now they're annoyed because Liverpool have made a bid. I think that's pretty right. Everything they've been annoyed about. They're annoyed about getting a £110 million bid. Well, if you're annoyed about it, what's the number? Because there either is or there isn't. He's not for sale, but then we're annoyed with the low ball offer? Come on. It's pathetic. Even the Chronicle, a paper up in Newcastle, said that Newcastle are understood to be angry at being forced to play the waiting game to receive a bid for Isak. So 1 minute, the Geordies are briefing that they're angry that an offer hasn't come in yet for Isak. In their own papers. And then the offer comes in, and this is the shite that we're getting dealt with. This is PR 101, and this is a lot of these guys trying to save face. Newcastle know they're fighting a losing battle. Isak has told Newcastle he's no intention of playing for them, he's no intention of coming back, and he wants Liverpool. So if we're all going to be adult about this, let's stop the pretense on the bollocks. Because when it comes to me having to be Captain Sensible, the world's lost its mind. I'm supposed to be the one that's away with the fairies. But watching on today from the outside as people trip over themselves to talk absolute pony has been comical, to say the least. Isak will be a Liverpool player, said Stevie Boy. Edwards is on this, believe. Mate, I've no doubts on it. This nonsense about... Now what they're trying to do is make a pathway for Isak back in. So Newcastle are like, big bad Liverpool destabilised. Even though they were told, and journalists wrote the other day, that it wasn't Liverpool that were briefing all of this stuff. It was Isak's side. So now all of a sudden Liverpool are the villains. Poor old Newcastle are going to welcome up their arms and say, come on Isak, come back in mate, all is forgiven. Never mind the banners outside calling you a rat fella. Never mind the Newcastle fans on social media being wet wipes who are absolutely rinsing their old player. Now all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that everything's going to be grand. Come on now, grow up. It's not going to be grand. He doesn't want to be there. He feels like promises have been broken and you're going to lose the player. And the reason I know they're going to lose the player is they tried to offer him a contract for 1 more year that has a buyout clause in it for next year. So basically the best case scenario here for Newcastle is that they drag him kicking and streaming through another season. That's the best case scenario. But he turned down that contract offer because, and I can't say this clearly enough, he doesn't want to be there. So to all of the journalists, and I'm not talking about the Liverpool beat ones, they've actually been quite respectful about this. You know, the usual suspects. They've been towing the company line, and Liverpool at this moment in time aren't revisiting. But this nonsense Hope came out with, absolute nonsense, saying Liverpool have bottled it. Come on now. Who's buying that shit? Right, let's keep going. Cal, anybody who understands negotiating knows us pulling out is genius from FSG. Newcastle would be screwed. We will get him for a fair price. Exactly. We're living in this world where they're trying to say £110 million a low ball offer. Have they lost it? Like, honestly, Newcastle have been horrendous. The whole window, all the way through. And this is just priceless. I love it. I've been sitting there laughing my ass off today. And I don't know why so many Liverpool fans are losing their minds about it. Have you ever seen a first offer get accepted unless there's an agreement behind the scenes beforehand? No. Of course Liverpool are going to come back in. Of course Liverpool are going to bid again. But they're going to do it at the right time. Isak's due back on Monday. We know what's going to happen there. He's going to go and tell them, again, I've no interest in playing here. You've broken promises to me. You haven't given me the contract extensions that I was promised in the past, nor have you strengthened enough. Come on, folks. Let's be upbeat about this. Today was a good day because today we made our intentions clear. Isak's doing his part, but this is going to take some time. Have a bit of faith on it. Let's keep going. David said, hey bro, we got to be ruthless when it comes to deal. Do you think Chelsea or Man United would care? No, not at all. And Isak's doing his part here by turning down the advances of Manchester United, by letting it be known to everybody that the only club he has any intention of joining is Liverpool. And again, this isn't Liverpool doing this. This is Isak doing this. So Newcastle need to look a little bit closer to home here because they're still looking. By the way, again, let's just get back to the very basic element of this. Newcastle are trying to bring in 2 forwards. Why are they trying to bring in 2 forwards? Sincerely, why? Because they know they're losing Isak. Yes, they had to replace Callum Wilson. No denying that. But they're trying to bring in 2 because they know Isak's going out the door. So this will happen. We're just going to have to be a little bit patient on it. And I get it. People want it now. I understand it. I get the frustrations. But it's all part of the dance. I've been speaking to people within PR today as well to talk about this. And even they're laughing their asses off at the way Newcastle have dealt with it. It's been a shit show from their side from day one. But I have full faith in Hughes and Edwards. I've got full faith that we'll get the job done. And Newcastle fans will eventually realise that they're fighting a losing battle on this one. But that's okay. Let them have their little moment today where they think they've won. Suleiman said Liverpool should ghost Newcastle. They'll beg us to come back, take Isak for less. Absolutely. Look, we're going to get the lad eventually. Newcastle trying desperately to save face with their fans. And like I've said all the way through, got to do that. Totally understand it. Got to make out like they've tried everything to keep him. I get it. The optics of this are pretty straightforward. Fab news right now. They get a striker, we get Isak, said Sonder. Mate, I don't disagree with a word of that. And that's what this is all about. Buying time. So they're angry we weren't making a bid. Remember, their own newspaper, The Chronicle, said that they were getting frustrated and angry at Liverpool that a bid wasn't coming. Then the bid comes in, and now they're getting angry at the bid. And now they're getting angry at Liverpool basically selling a dream to Isak and pulling away. I mean, come on. It's so transparent. It's obvious to see. So I hope our side of it is calm, because I'm telling you, you've nothing to be stressed about. This will be dealt with. It is in hand. The player won't be left there stranded. And Newcastle will eventually get to the point where they know they're going to lose their boy. And do I have to sit here and wait till they sign a player? Yeah, of course. That was always going to be the case. They weren't going to sell them their only striker. Well, they haven't brought one in. But the real problem here, and I think Newcastle fans deep down know this, is that their own club has been nothing short of deplorable in the transfer market. An absolute shambles that they haven't been able to bring in players. That's not our fault. But, you know, you had basically Craig Hope begging Liverpool to come and help Newcastle to get a transfer at one point. Now, all of a sudden, he's obviously gotten a buzz to say, hang on a minute here, dude. Let's stop being so pro-Liverpool on this one and let's start fighting the Newcastle side. Because all of a sudden, like that, his attitude changed and all. Oh, Liverpool are bottlers. Come on now. Come on. Oasis for Life said, all mind games. Isak will be a red, in my opinion. So thank you, mate, for being with us for 4 months as a member as well. Ryan said, 5D chess. Liverpool will walk away from Isak so that Newcastle can buy their striker without being fleeced and they can sell Isak. Yes, exactly. Common sense. And it's the right way to do it. The last thing Newcastle want is to go out into the market to try and find a striker and people to know that they have 120, 130, 140, whatever amount it is, in their back pocket. Because what happens then? People say, bend over, we've got diddy amounts of lube here, and we're about to shaft you. So, again, let's just think about this rationally. And by the way, I did say to everybody, not be panicking about the Darwin situation, because there was going to be interest and an offer coming from Saudi Arabia, which today, that interest has ratcheted up again. So, anybody who stuck with us this summer will know we've pretty much been on the money. And I don't want to big us up because we're not the greatest source channel in the world, but we know what we're talking about on this one. And Liverpool-based journalists are being respectful. And yes, they're saying Liverpool, for now, are stepping back, which is normal, understandable. Even Ian Doyle had to back up his own statement by saying, I'll read it out to you, because it just gives you an indication of where this whole situation is. So, Liverpool, according to Ian Doyle, won't be making a second bid for Isak as things stand, given the clarity of Newcastle's swift and emphatic response. The Reds offered 110 million. Fair enough. Not 4 minutes later, but it's August the 1st, and still a full month to go before the deadline. Plenty of time for things to change. Well, which one is it? Are we walking away, Ian, or are we not? Because you know we aren't. I know we aren't. He knows we aren't. The world knows we aren't. But I get it. Sometimes these guys have to play the game. And I understand that. But we don't have to believe it. Like I keep telling you, football clubs want to steer a narrative. And football clubs want people to believe what they're saying. But you don't have to believe it. You can question it. You can ask yourself, is it logical? And it isn't. And it hasn't been. And again, I actually commend and praise the Liverpool-based journalists for this, because they've all been measured, they've all been calm, and you look at the other side of it, they're losing their minds. It's nuts. David Sweet said, evening, Craig. We all need your wisdom, mate. Look, I've been around long enough to be able to read these situations. And this isn't based off inside information. You don't need it. It's pretty clear. I've been speaking to 3 separate PR professionals today who all work inside sport. And every one of them are laughing at this situation. Because it is laughable. It really is. But look, we'll keep going through it. We'll go into some of your questions, because I'm sure that there's lots you guys like to talk about as well. And I hope to be able to shed some light on these situations for you. Okay, a question. How much do you think we're willing to pay for Isak? I would say we're probably 130. I know Dave O.C. Cop said we go to 140, and look, maybe if it got it done, we might. But I've said for a very long time, I see Isak as a 90 to 100 million pound forward. But with the market that's in it and the shortage of strikers, Newcastle do have the capability of getting themselves a huge payday and us paying over the odds. And we will. I don't think he's worth 130, 140, 150 million. But if that's what it's going to take and Arna wants his man, then I'm sure they'll get the job done. And on that, we've got more information tonight as well. On Tyler Morton. Looks like a deal is getting close there between Liverpool and Lyon for the sale of Tyler Morton. Paul Joyce posted about this earlier on, so we'll go through that as well. Pork chop. Hope you're well, Craig. Love your channel, but to be honest, I feel like you've led us up the garden path, mate. The deal is off and the board have walked. Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do, mate. Would you like to make a bet on this? Really? Because how have I led you up the garden path? Everything I've told you this summer has been right. Everything. And there is no chance in hell that Liverpool walk away from this. None. So, if you think I've led you up the garden path, happy to put your money down on the table, because I'm telling you, bro, this isn't over. Not by a long way. And if you think it is, well, I don't know what to say to you. And also, you've pretty much called me a liar in your post. Like the channel, but you've lied to us. Fair enough. If you think I've lied to you, you know where the door is. I'm comfortable in what I've said because everything I've said has been backed up by multiple others. But I can't make Newcastle accept the offer. I can't tell Liverpool what number to go with. But I can tell you one thing. It is not over. Liverpool will revisit this. No probs. Simple. We will. And if you don't think we will, I don't know what to say, dude. You know, be a bit weird, wouldn't it? To go in with one offer, walk away, and not revisit it again. Liverpool have to get some encouragement from the Newcastle side. And again, just look at their side of it and how they've, what's the words I'm looking for? How they painted this picture. So it was 150 million, then he wasn't for sale. Then they were annoyed waiting for an offer from Liverpool. Then the offer came in and they were shocked at the lowball £110 million offer. Everything from their side has been to save face, which they have to do, and I understand it. Right, let's keep going. John said, "Hi Craig, what a team we have built. Isak and centre-back next, and the league is ours. Thanks for the awesome content. Keep up, bro. Much love." Thank you, my man. Look, I'm genuinely relaxed, like I've said all the way through. Isak, no Isak. Whatever we've done this summer has been brilliant, and I'm buzzing for the season ahead. We will get Isak, in my opinion, but it is just that. It's an opinion, because I don't think anybody factually can tell you one way or the other that everything is 100% one way or 100% the other. But it is very much stacked in favour of Isak coming to Liverpool at some point. Small club mentality from Newcastle. New kit is sexy. Yeah, it's lovely. I've seen a couple of people who've actually physically gotten it, like young George in the chat, who sent a couple of pictures into our Discord of it. It looks really good as well. Great unveiling from the club. Love the vert stuff as well. The number 7, it's brilliant. Double L Lion said, "Poll idea. Do we get a centre-back while we wait for Isak?" Oh, we should do. Yes. And on that, actually, thank you for bringing that up, mate. While we're talking about centre-backs, some encouraging stuff around Canada today. So let's talk about that for a moment. Where are we? This one. So a report today said that Liverpool and Ibrahim Kanate are still in talks over a contract extension. No full agreement yet, but he is happy at the club and he's keen to stay. That's good news. And I hope we get some positive updates over the next week or two on that extension. But regardless of that, you know, I think we all still feel we need to go out there and get a centre-back. And that I don't really have anything breaking on that I can tell you guys that you probably don't already know. There was some lists put out today of some centre-back targets. I'm happy to run through it for you. But yeah, as of right now, let's just wait. All right, one sec. Okay, so Chris Williams, another journalist, has said, told via the players' camp that Newcastle have made it clear to Isak, no incoming equals no outgoing. So let's just talk about this for a second. So Newcastle have told Isak, no incoming, no outgoing. That I have no issue with. That's common sense. Newcastle need to bring in a striker. But again, they're already briefing the player and others that once they get that striker, the situation's different. So, come on. Let's just imagine for 1 second that they agree a deal for Ollie Watkins in 2 days' time. Do you think then we're still not going to go back in? Do you think then that Newcastle aren't going to soften their stance a little bit? Come on. There's definitely another offer coming. He said they're confident of a deal if the price is right. Again, journalists saying clubs confident of a deal if the price is right and the replacement is lined up. Paul Joyce then saying Olympique Lyonnais are close to a deal worth around £15 million for Tyler Morton. Anfield Sector and a few others have said Al Hilal have submitted an official offer to Liverpool for Darwin Núñez. Then we have Fabrizio Romano saying discussions between Al Hilal and Darwin Núñez camp are still ongoing as Liverpool remain open to a permanent sale. Talks to continue in the next few days, but Darwin is still high on Al Hilal's list. So, why do you think we're selling all these forwards? Why do you think we sold Diaz? Why do you think we're going to sell Darwin? The answer is because Liverpool know that they're going to get forwards in to replace. And the forward that's going to come in to replace is going to be named Alexander Isak. So let's just be patient and wait for Newcastle to learn how to do a transfer. Romano said Liverpool's bid for Isak was 120 million. I think he's incorrect on that. I think Ian Doyle's number was right on the 110. That's what Liverpool offered according to Romano's sources. With the possibility to include add-ons as part of the package, Newcastle said no. Then we had Newcastle said no to Liverpool's bid. This is probably why you see many reports on Liverpool not willing to bid again. But internally, Liverpool know this is part of the game. It's still the beginning of August. There's still plenty of time left. Liverpool expected Newcastle to be strong in their position. The only way this deal to happen is if Newcastle get a top striker and then they'll decide to let Isak go. Newcastle showed their stance. The player's not leaving. If there is a replacement, let's see what's going to happen. Liverpool wanted to send that message, £120 million bid, not only to Newcastle, but also to the player. They wanted to show the player that they're ready. They sent a clear message to Alexander Isak. So, again, it's common sense. There's no way we're walking away from this without more offers. So let me ask that as a question. Let's see who's feeling what in the chat. So let's ask the first poll of the night one. Right. Do you think we walk away from Isak? That's the first poll question of the night. And look forward to seeing what the answers are. I'm genuinely intrigued to see what you guys think. Right, what's this one? All right, lots more coming in. Yeah, I've already read through that one. That's okay. Right, let's get back to some of the super chats that I need to catch up on. Does the amount of change worry you in the squad? So this is something, Jason, that comes up quite a bit. And I understand why people ask it. But for me, mate, no. Because I don't think the spine of the squad has changed enough to cause me concern. Now, there's obviously going to be a good chunk of change there. We've 2 new fullbacks either way, whether you look at Bradley or Frimpong, they're kind of relatively new either way, right? They're not Trent. On the left side, well, we all screamed that we needed a new left back, and the club got one, and the club got the right one. So if you move forward then, another position that we had problems in was through the centre. Now, nobody could have known what happened with Diogo. That's just a tragic accident. But apart from that, I told you Diaz was going to probably go. I told you Darwin Núñez was going to go, and he will. And then Liverpool will bring in replacements. So I don't see too much change personally. All I see is upgrades in positions that we needed them. And yes, there is still a concern at centre-back. No argument about that whatsoever. We're light there and we need to be better. And I think we will. But that's the only thing you won't get an argument from me on. We are defo light at centre-back. Excuse me. LFSU said, surprised more clubs haven't gone in for Vlahovic, seeing as he's for sale, like Newcastle, for example. There must be something there, or a lack of movement from him, or something in Vlahovic that is stopping. Like, I had a similar thought process with Victor Osimhen. Really surprised that more clubs weren't in the mix there for Osimhen. So, yeah, there must be something to it. So, Liverpool have given Al Hilal the green light to negotiate with Núñez, is one report that's just come into me. Now, again, don't take this as a matter of fact and as a given. Let's wait and see if more journalists, Romano or others, come out with this one. But I'm just telling you what's just dropped in here. Says, Liverpool have given the green light for Al Hilal to negotiate with Darwin Núñez. Now, I'm sure that will be cemented or rebuffed soon enough, but I'll let you know. Ryan said we could actually have an Isak partnership. I know. Let's go right back, Ryan, to the whole Ekitike situation. When Liverpool inquired to Newcastle if they'd sell Isak. And Newcastle said no. And Liverpool said, well, we're going to move on to another target then of our own to make sure we get a striker. And we got Ekitike. That's Newcastle shooting themselves in the foot once. Newcastle have lost out on João Pedro, Liam Delap. They're lost out on Ugo Ekitike, and they're going to lose out on more players, like Sesko as an example, if they dilly-dally around and don't go strongly. I don't know who's dealing with transfers for Newcastle, but Newcastle fans would be perfectly within their right to be frustrated at the lack of movement on that end. It's shocking. This one. Daniel said, hi Craig, hilarious to see rivals say Frimpong and Wirtz will flop and Gyökeres is next Zlatan. There's some little gimp, and that's the only word I can use because that's what this fella deserves to be called, who tried to make a piece to say that Saka was better than Salah. I mean, I don't know what to say about Arsenal fans anymore. Like, if we can't have rational grown-up adult discussions, then piss off. Saka's a wonderful young footballer. Nobody would deny that. But to even try to compare him to Mohamed Salah is an embarrassment to anybody with a brain. Victor. Isak played in the Eredivisie before for a small team too. Interesting how far he's come up the Reds. Yes, and there's been some images of the last few days showing Arne Slot on the bench just watching on Isak as well. So yeah, he's had quite a journey to get to where he is, and he'll continue that journey at the very highest level. Just want to see this over so I can get my Isak kit. I get it, man, I get it, but I never felt this was going to be a quick one, that it was just bing bang bosh done. And that's why I said I was really surprised to hear about that offer going in, because I thought we'd hang off until Newcastle started to get a replacement in. But maybe, and again, this isn't a fact, this is just an opinion that I'm giving you now. Maybe Liverpool just did want to send that signal to Isak, because he's doing his part. I think we'll all agree there. He's making it clear what he wants to do. He's making it clear nobody else, only Liverpool. Manchester United tried to inquire about Isak in the last couple of days, according to Florian Plettenberg. And Isak told them, no thank you, I'm only going to Liverpool. So it ain't over yet. And I don't think you'll have to wait too long to order that Isak shirt. And also, if Darwin moves to Al Ahly, that will free up a certain number as well, won't it? Now, I know some people may say 14, but come on, number 9, let's go. Sam said, hey Craig, me and my brother Jack love the streams. Bit worried about the Isak stuff now. Not sure who to believe on it anymore. Just don't believe anybody, Sam. Just think about it for yourself, mate. You know, take all the journalist stuff out of it for a minute and just think about the logistics of this. Newcastle need a striker. They're trying to sign 2. Why are they trying to sign 2? So step 1, there's an indication that they're willing to sell Isak. Now it's the low ball offer and Liverpool have bottled it. So there's a number then, is there? Everything that they've said has been hypocritical. And Craig Hope was only last night begging Liverpool to basically come and go help Newcastle to get a transfer. Talking about Isak, telling everybody and sundry that it was only Liverpool. The players knew. The players were unhappy with the vision they were sold by Newcastle. Then they were coming in to what they've actually seen. And then obviously the old blower's gone ring ring And he's got a bit of an earful, and he's had to back down a little bit and started to be a bit more pro-Newcastle in the stance, because Newcastle have been a shambles in this. An absolute shambles. But thank you to you and your brother as well. Appreciate your support, Sam. But honestly, mate, just remove the noise, because that's all this is now, is noise. Remove the noise and just think about it logically. Because we weren't signing Virgil van Dijk at one point. Liverpool had walked away from those negotiations. You know, it's just part of the game. It's part of the game. Which one am I on? Will. Evening, Craig. Newcastle will sign Visa in the next couple of days. Then bid from Liverpool will be accepted. So I'd say there's a far better chance. And apparently Brentford have a £40 million valuation on Johan Visa. And Newcastle, I think we're at 30 last time. Maybe 25, 30. I can't really remember. But yeah, if they get one striker over the line, it'll certainly soften their stance. And then they'll probably look for the second one. So they need to, because they're going to lose Isak and they've lost Callum Wilson. Or they chose not to renew Callum Wilson. It's probably fairer to Newcastle. So it's just a bit of a waiting game at the minute. And I get it. We'd all love Isak in right now. But he's doing his part. And I think Monday or Tuesday is going to be very interesting when they're all reporting back. So Newcastle have made up an injury, then tossed and turned about whether he was out because of an injury. So the line was, he's got a thigh injury. Then it was, oh no. And then all of a sudden it was, oh, Eddie Howe saying, no, his head wasn't right, so I left him out. And then all of a sudden they were back and going, oh shit, no, I could be said this. And then he didn't go in the pre-season training camp. But he's fit enough to be over there working with a personal trainer and doing stuff at Sociedad's ground. All of it just makes no sense. Emil said, have a feeling the deal is done and this is a theatre to help Newcastle sign strikers. I agree. I very much agree. And I agree with that stance from them as well. You know, nobody wants the world to know you've a load of money when you're going to negotiate for something. Nobody. You know, you don't want to go and buy a house and tell the estate agent in the car on the way up, I'm loaded. Doesn't really matter what the price of this house is. Money ain't the thing for me. Nobody does that. So I agree with you, Emil. I very much do. And thank you. Right, so poll is open. Do you think we walk away from Isak? Yes or no? Let's see how people are feeling. Right. Dazzy, how are we, dude? Said, I think Liverpool's playing a blinder. Put in a bid to say we will walk over to you, Newcastle. They'll be asking for us to bid. Exactly. They know the player's not happy. And remember what I said earlier on. Newcastle offered him a new deal with a release clause that becomes active next year. So they know they're losing him. Come on now. Wayne said thigh injury, Isak. Yeah, it's funny though, Wayne, when they went and sent it for the scam that it came back clear, isn't it? It's almost as if they're talking out their arse. But, you know, same way Coutinho had a back injury, mate. It's mad how these things come on with stress, isn't it? You say Ekatisak. I say Isakite. I hope your ear is better, mate. I went to the doctor today, actually, Ryan. Thank you, mate. I got some steroids and some antibiotic drops for my nose because the little tube in my ear that's blocked. So, yeah, thank you, mate. I was there today, which is why I was late. Why I couldn't put out the video about Isak and that bid being turned down earlier. I was at the doctor's and, yeah, unfortunately was stuck there. Couldn't get home to make the video. Tipsy Dipsy. Hope Lala, Poe and the boys are all right, mate. You have got a lot of credit in the back, mate. I'm calm. Thank you. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Mark said, I bet you said broccoli bet incoming. No, I've learned my lesson on that one, Mark. No more betting broccoli. That's those days are done. Never seen Mo look so good in a red shirt, said Adam. Oh, lads. Do you know what? I'm not usually a fan of long sleeve shirts and I wouldn't buy one because I hate restrictions on cuffs, but it looks good. It looks really good. And Salah looks beautiful. Yeah, it looks absolutely mint. Shirt's popping. It looks gorgeous. I think I'm about just under 500 quid in the hole so far today from the few bits for me and my young lad, like, but worth every penny. Rulesba said, we need to hold firm. Isak is not worth 130 plus million. So for me, mate, I agree. Now, I don't know what Liverpool will or won't go to. I can't speak to that. But if I'm giving you my own personal assessment of Isak, strip away all this nonsense, and I would say he's 90 to £100 million player. But like in any situation, there's a premium when there's a shortage, and there is a shortage at the minute of top class available strikers, and we're probably going to have to overpay on it. But you know what? Sitting here being able to say that we have the money to do it, how cool is that? Like, how mad is it that we're sitting here now arguing about whether Liverpool go over another 110 million quid offer in the summer where we've already spent 116 million on Florian Wirtz and another good chunk of money on Ugo Ekitike, Frimpong, Kirkheads. Like, let's not lose sight of that here. We have done incredible business and we have spent big money and are willing to go again. Breaking transfer records twice in one window. This needs to be applauded because as a fan, I can't speak highly enough of how the club have moved in this window. And very, very happy to eat mountains of humble pie on it because it's been a joy. It's been a joy to watch. It's been a masterclass as well, by the way. Lee Williams, how are we, Lee? Hi, mate. Did you see Shearer's comment saying 120 million wouldn't buy Isak's left foot? When Trent wanted to go, he said entitled to do what he wants. Look, everyone's getting a bit carried away here. Obviously, everybody on the Newcastle side is going to have to back the Newcastle side. I would expect nothing less. But again, £120 million is a significant amount of money. And Liverpool are willing to go above that by the looks of it. So let's wait and see how it pans out. But I get it. Newcastle have to get everybody in line here. Think of this. If anybody's into politics, think of this like the party whip coming in and telling everybody what the line is. Telling everybody what the message is. What they have to say. What narrative has to be repeated. How it has to be said. And you see it all the time in football. Like, it's no accident today that every single one of the Liverpool beat journalists came out with a similar line. Liverpool are walking away for now. Liverpool are stepping away because of the refusal from Newcastle and how quick it was. Everybody has a narrative, and this is a battle for hearts and minds, and it's a PR nightmare for Newcastle. So, we'll get there. And who would have thought, by the way, I'd be the one saying this? I'm supposed to be the lunatic. I'm supposed to be the one screaming from the rooftops. And I'm trying to talk about realism. It's mad. I don't like it. It doesn't suit me. Right, let's keep going. This one here from Russell said Newcastle need a striker. Núñez and 70 million deal done. Like I've said, mate. In theory, yes, but I've got no idea if Newcastle have any interest in Darwin. I've got no idea if Darwin has any interest in Newcastle. Hypothetically, sure. But I don't know is the honest answer. Okay, who are you and what have you done with our Craig? I know, it's nuts. But if I'm the voice of reason, things have gotten mad. This one from Sean Hewitt. Thank you, Sean. Like Fabrizio Romano said on his YouTube channel the other day, Isak to Liverpool 60% done, so I wouldn't worry. Look, the player only wants us. We want him. He's Arne Slot's number one target. And you think after everything Liverpool have done all summer, that they're not going to keep after the number one target. Come on now. Definitely going to happen. And we're topping up the kitty with a few more sales as well, which we'll move on to in a moment. This one. Russell. Don't like it, but when Isak doesn't train Monday. I don't like it either. I've said this so many times, dude. I hate when it gets to this level of toxicity for anybody or any club. It'd be a lot easier if everybody was just rational and dealt like adults and seen he wanted to go, known it was going to happen. But you can't. They have to save face with their fan base because you've already seen the vitriol aimed at Isak from the Newcastle fan base. Isak is a pure rat outside the training ground on a banner. Do you think the player doesn't notice this? So, I can't see Isak backing down on this, personally. I can't. Duncan said, you're the only one talking sense. The other vloggers like Rory Jennings are panicking. Time to count to 10. look, I can't speak to what other people are saying, mate, nor am I here to judge them, but I've seen a lot of panicking today as well. And like I said, I've been speaking to PR professionals today. I've been speaking to some lower tier agents and a couple of journalists, and not one person I've spoken to believes this is over. And it isn't. But, I get it. But this is the theatre of transfers, this is what it's all about. This is we're balls deep in this. This is what we wanted. This one, Adam said Mateta would be a good option for Newcastle. A little bit on the old side though, isn't he? What is Mateta? 27, 28, something like that. If you're going to be, I think Newcastle wants somebody like a Sesko as an example, who is a poster boy for the project. Which I totally understand as well, because you're going to want to build a profile of this guy along with building your club's profile. So yeah, they need the poster boy, but so far, unfortunately, they haven't been able to get him. And I don't think they'll get Sesko if United keep pushing. But also if you're Benjamin Sesko, right, you've just seen United try to get Isak. So let's not lose sight of that as well. If I'm Eddie Howe in Newcastle, I'm on the blower to Sesko's agent going, they don't really want you, mate. We want you. You're our guy. We want you. United are around here ringing up Isak trying to sign him, but we're here with you. We want you. We want you to be the face of this project. We want you to be the superstar. You're going to be idolised. You're going to be loved here. You're going to be playing Champions League football. They're still worming around behind the scenes, and we don't think they have the money to get you, mate. That's what I'd be saying if I was in Newcastle's shoes to the likes of Sesko. Tyler. Craig, what do you think chances are that 10 we get Isak, mate? Also, Rodrigo or for Fofana. Love your show, keep it up. So this is going to sound insane, Tyler. Because yesterday I told you I was at 75%. Today, we've had a bid refused, but I'm at 90%. And that's not for effect. It's not for an impact. That's me being serious. I'm at 90% we sign Isak. I'm actually at 99% we sign him if we're allowing for the next summer. But in this window, I'm at 90%. That's how confident I am. But I don't control the money end of it. And I can't make Newcastle get a striker. If Newcastle don't get a striker, I don't think we get Isak. That I'll be pretty clear about. But surely, to goodness, they have to get one. They've got the money to do it. They know there's money waiting for Isak as well. So we just have to play the waiting game till Newcastle are able to line up a striker. Kev Wright, how are we, mate? Thank you for being our defender of the truth, our guiding light in the sea of crappy journalism. Well, I ain't a journalist, for first and foremost. I wouldn't disrespect actual journalists by trying to lump me in there with them, but I seen the reaction from a lot of people today, and I seen the worry. And I don't care how the Newcastle fans are feeling about it, but I do care about my own fan base, the Liverpool fans. And I hope tonight we can answer some questions and calm people down a little bit. Right, so nearly at the 3,000 votes. We just need 70 more to go, and then we'll end that poll. George, let's go for Ollie Watkins as a plan B. He's too old. And you're not on your own, by the way, mate. Robbie Fowler a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, said the same thing. Ollie Watkins. And if you're thinking shorter term, look, Ollie Watkins will put the ball in the net. But he's not what we want. And this isn't our plan B summer. We're moving for the top targets, and God, it's a thing of beauty to see. Like, there could be no better people dealing with this for us than the two gentlemen that are dealing with this. That's where my confidence lies with those two men as well. We didn't know what to do about Richard Hughes at first because we didn't see him really do much, But the two of them together, they've been an absolute masterclass of sports. I don't know what you want to call it, maneuverability, sports. I don't know. It's been incredible. Our sporting director and Michael Edwards has just been brilliant. Right, so we've 74% of the 3,000 people that took part in the poll think that we won't walk away from Isak, yeah. And I'm defo in that 74%. People in the 26%, look, I understand where you're coming from, but again, we're not going to put in one offer and walk away. Right, let's keep going. Leipzig have apparently asked for the possibility of Hoyland as part of a Sesko deal to United. Who gets the better end of that deal if it's true? Weirdly, I've still got some hope for Hoyland to become a good player. I think there's a lot of ingredients in him, a lot of raw attributes that are there. And one thing about the kid as well is he seems to be a fighter who doesn't want to give up. So, I don't know, I'd get rid of Xerxes if I was United ahead of him. But maybe they've no interest in Xerxes, I don't know. The person driving that deal for Manchester United is the guy that brought Benjamin Sesko to Salzburg when he was 16. So United do have a good, strong hand in that situation. Ryan said, how dare Newcastle try to lowball Brentford for Visa? I know, they bottled it. Shocking. Shocking, Ryan, shocking. Joel, how are we, my man? Thank you for your super chat and your comment, Joel. Said, Craig, could you see us offer Núñez to Newcastle? I think we'd rather sell him to Saudi for obvious reasons, you know, just in case he comes back to bite you in the backside in the Prem. But let's have a look at this one. So, Fabrizio Romano has just said this on Threads, and credit Anfield Sector for this as well. Al Hilal open talks and initial discussions to sign Darwin Núñez. Saudi Pro League side keen on Darwin as he remains available on the market and ready to leave Liverpool. No official proposal to the Reds yet, but Al Hilal keen with discussions to follow on both the player and club sides. So that's starting. Liverpool again. Why would we be willing to let Darwin go after letting Diaz go, after tragically losing Diogo? Again, ask yourself the common sense questions. These boys are no tickos. And they're not going to let our players walk out the door and then go, oh, we've no strikers. We've only got Ugo. Come on, they know. Joseph Reinhardt, how are we, sir? Isak will not play for Newcastle. They're pointing the finger at us, making us the bad guys to discredit the reports yesterday about them selling false promises to players. So my information, Joseph, is that he has categorically told Newcastle won't be playing for them again. That's what I'm hearing. Now, you know, take that, believe it, don't believe it, that's up to you. But what I'm hearing is he's firmly told them promises were broken, he's not happy, doesn't want to play anymore, bridges have been burned. Let's wait and see. Excuse me. And thank you, by the way, Joseph, man, appreciate you. Riku said Isak to Liverpool's almost done. Clubs have priority certain trades such as transfers to keep fans, sponsors on side. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And optics are important. You know, they are. Eddie, how are we, sir? Do you think we're looking at another striker just in case we don't get Isak? You have to. You'd have to, man. You'd have to. No, I don't know if it's a striker, by the way. I couldn't say categorically it's a striker, but of course, you'd have to have that plan B. I think a big indication, Eddie, will be if we do let Darwin go. Because you would have to think, if we were worried about numbers or going into the season short-handed, that we wouldn't let Darwin go. That we would have kept Darwin Núñez for another year, even as a backup to Ekitike. But the fact that Liverpool are willing to allow him to enter into these conversations for a move to Al Hilal and let Chiesa start his negotiations to try and get a move back to Italy and sell Luis Diaz, surely got to tell us that they've got plans. This one from Craig Bound, said, so Isak is going to submit a formal transfer request. If he does that, there's nothing to stop us buying him, is there? Well, Newcastle still have to sell. And an actual journalist would certainly be able to give you more concrete information on this than me, but to the best of my understanding, if you submit a formal transfer request, you're forgoing your percentage of the sale. And I think some loyalty bonuses and a few other bits and pieces that you may have been due when you were leaving a club. It's a real last case scenario for a player because it's hurting their own pocket to do it. So there have been reports of that today, but I can't sit here and tell you that I know that for a fact that he's going to put in a transfer request. I don't know that. Nath. Craig, love the content. Thank you, Nath. I think it would have been interesting if we made a bigger bid to test them even more. 110 million bid was more for Isak to keep him on side and show him we're doing our bit. Yeah, I agree. But no club ever goes in with best and first offer, you know. But I agree with you. Maybe 120 might have put the cat amongst the pigeons a little bit more. But you're spot on in what you're saying there about this being a show of faith to Isak as well. James, Craig Love Channel, long season, defence, slight worry at the minute. On a random side note, I would say Villa are a bigger club than Newcastle, no disrespect. Well, they are. They've won a European Cup. Villa are a bigger club. Villa are a huge club. Yeah. But look, I've always said Newcastle the sleeping giant. Absolutely huge fan base up there that love their club, love football, really passionate, get behind their players, worship them, you know, same way we do to some extent. But you also have to realise where you are in the world. And sometimes a bigger fish is just going to come in, and unfortunately, when you're still in your development, you're going to lose a player or two along the way to get there. So many things have been going through my mind over the last day or two, going all the way back to Newcastle's executive saying last season, or maybe it was even before that, that sometimes some uncomfortable moments have to happen. Clubs have to take one step backwards to take two steps forward. Use Coutinho example with us. And Newcastle know this deep down. They'll know that they haven't been able to put that squad to a good enough standard to convince the likes of Isak to stay. Now, I don't know what promises were made between Newcastle and Isak previously. I haven't got a clue. But there's been multiple reports to say he was promised a contract extension by, I can't remember her name now, Amanda Staveley. That didn't come to fruition. Paul Mitchell didn't come to fruition. And now he's feeling pissed off. So Comedy Game said, Craig, stop chatting BS. Then why are you here? You're here because I'm in your head, princess. Rent free. Remember that. I own you. Right, let's go. The new home kit has echoes of the Torres Gerrard era, but with a touch of gold on the arm patch. Can't remember being this excited for a season. Yep, same. And I ordered the gold patch on my shirt today. Cannot wait for it. Liquid said Newcastle trying to save face with their fans. See a second bid rejected again, and they accept a third when they have signed a striker. Yeah, when they sign a striker, or when they agree a deal for a striker even. But let's wait and see. Right, look, I'm going to take you through some of the stories that have come in. And if you have 5 minutes, super chats, I know there's some I have to get to. David, John, Opossum, David Sweet, Yorkshire Tea, Wayne. There are super chats I'll get to, I promise you. But I want to take people through where we're at today and how it's all unfolded. So let's go all the way back and see how this mad day has panned out. So we started off with the story about Canade, where there was a report that Liverpool are still in talks about a contract extension. No full agreement yet, but he's happy as a club and keen to stay. That's brilliant news for a start. Then we had Lewis Steele report. Isak is the dream signing and Liverpool have made contact with his camp over a potential deal. Now let's just pause for 1 second. This was all before the first bid went in. Isak is the dream signing and Liverpool have made contact with the camp over a deal. So the dream signing. Again, I'm going to try and convince you as to why we're not walking away. There is hope on Merseyside that Newcastle will budge on their stance. If and when that deal happens, Liverpool are ready and primed to go all out for the man with a bid to follow. They do not want to pay the £150 million quoted by Newcastle, but hope the players' tactics can force his employers to lower their demands. So already we have an admittance from Newcastle that there's a number they'll sell at. So if there's a number they'll sell at, that's already chink in the armour number one. Right, next up, there was Lewis Steele said, with Van Dijk now 34, Liverpool's main goal is to sign a young defender who can eventually replace the Dutch giant. Joel Ordonez, Konstantinos Kouliarakis and Giovanni Leone have all been cited as potential options. Liverpool's network of scouts have watched them, but nothing more than that, with nothing in the works yet. Then David Ornstein said, Newcastle reject official bid from Liverpool for Isak. Initial approach informal, now firm. Offer and turned down. Newcastle suggests a new deal till 2026 with a release clause, and senior teammates push the 25-year-old to stay, but he wants the move. Then we had Ben Jacobs saying, Newcastle have rejected a formal bid from Liverpool for Isak, as David Ornstein called. Formal offer made by Richard Hughes. Liverpool bid a clear indication of optimism despite the rejection. So again, let's read out that last line. Liverpool bid a clear indication of optimism despite the rejection. Next up, Liverpool plan to bid again for Alexander Isak. He wants to join Liverpool, said Fabrizio Romano. Then we had David Ornstein. Newcastle have rejected a formal offer from Liverpool. Newcastle have tried to tie Isak down to an approved contract, which would have included a release clause for next summer, and encouraged him to stay in the North East through senior teammates, but the 25-year-old has not changed his stance, which has been made clear to the club by Isak and his representatives for some time. We move on then to Ben Jacobs 4 days ago, who said Liverpool will only make a formal offer if given encouragement from Newcastle. Paul Joyce said, Newcastle have rejected a formal bid from Liverpool. It's believed the bid was less than £120 million. The fact that Liverpool have now followed up with a firm bid demonstrates their determination to land Isak and also their intention to make life difficult for Newcastle. Craig Hope then said, if given encouragement, Newcastle are likely to make a move for Ollie Watkins. Talks also remain ongoing over a deal for Brentford's Johan Visa. Next up, Craig Hope said Anthony Gordon on his move collapsing last summer. I'm a human being. It's really difficult. That's why I understand what Alex is going through. I feel for him. He'll be going through a lot. The club is going through a lot. I hope everybody gets what they want in the end. Then we had Sky Sports, Keith Downey, said, my feeling is this needs to be sorted swiftly. I don't see it dragging on until the end of August purely because of the numbers involved. Now they have put a formal offer in. It's more likely that it will get done. More likely that it will get done. Newcastle cannot allow this to drag into the football season. I think we will have a resolution before August the 16th. And that was Sky Sports reporter. Then we've Mark McAdam TV, also of Sky, said Liverpool are understood to be preparing a second offer for Isak. Newcastle will only sell Isak if they have a replacement signed up. Dave O.C. Kopp said, exclusive, Liverpool now willing to pay Newcastle up to 80 million up front and 50 million next year plus 10 million in add-ons. Total 140 million, but more appealing structure. Then comes the line. Now you can see the narrative shift on the Liverpool side, what I'm about to start reading you, where Liverpool have clearly briefed journalists on something. Liverpool have no plans as it stands to bid again for Isak in this window. Nature of Liverpool's rebuttal means Liverpool will not follow up with a second offer, regarded as futile unless Newcastle change their stance. So now you can see Liverpool trying to kick the ball back over into Newcastle's court. Moby Hake said Newcastle journalist Craig Hope said, as per his contacts, a second offer for Isak from Liverpool is being put together. So in one day, we've had journalists say, Liverpool defo coming out with another offer. Defo. All our sources tell us that. And then all of a sudden, ring, ring. Hello, stop that, lads. We're walking away. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right, yeah, Liverpool are walking away, lads. Liverpool are walking away. Then we had Ian Doyle say, indeed, Liverpool won't be making a second bid for Alexander Isak as things stand, given the clarity of Newcastle's refusal 4 minutes later. But it is August the 1st, still a full month to go before the window closes. Plenty of time for things to change. Which one is it? Alexander Isak and his camp are forcing this move to Liverpool now, said Craig Hope. Isak has no intention, no wish and no desire to play for Newcastle United. Then we had Mark McAdam say Liverpool in talks with Lyon over a possible deal for Tyler Morton. He has been the subject of a number of inquiries this summer from clubs like Braga, Ipswich, Strasbourg and West Ham. Deal could be worth around £15 million. Then Florian Plettenberg said, understand Isak has once again made it clear he only wants to join Liverpool. Even Manchester United made an inquiry in recent days, but Isak turned it down. The players' camp remain optimistic that an agreement can be reached this transfer window after a £120 million bid was rejected by Newcastle. Isak's agreement with Liverpool is until 2031 and it's 100% done. The agreement between us and Isak. Then we had Ben Jacobs saying more on Alexander Isak. Liverpool say no second bid planned as it stands. Bid was 110 million fixed with no add-ons. Personal terms with Isak not a problem. Liverpool bid with optimism this morning, but Newcastle's response was so quick and strong, another bid is not currently in the works. Key now is how Isak responds. Newcastle hoping he reintegrates and preparing to offer him a new contract, likely with the ability to leave next summer, which we know they did. Should Isak double down and continue to push for a move, Newcastle need to find striker replacements. Liverpool could revisit their stance, but only if Newcastle contact them with encouragement. So again, Liverpool kicking the ball back over to their court. Paul Joyce said there's a difference between not bidding again and walking away entirely from a long-held interest in a player. But amid the games that are routinely played in the transfer window, it feels like it would need a change of heart from Newcastle to add fresh momentum to matters. That could come if the club manages to bolster its own attacking options. So Paul Joyce saying very clearly, there's a big difference between not bidding again and walking away, because we haven't walked away. Then we had the Chronicle up in Newcastle on Thursday saying that Newcastle are angry at being forced to play the waiting game from Liverpool for an offer for Isak. So they were angry we didn't bid. And then we bid. And then they were angry. So Newcastle were annoyed with Liverpool talking about making a bid. Annoyed because Liverpool hadn't made a bid. And now Liverpool made a bid. They're annoyed. Make sense of that one. Next up, we had Lee Ryder saying Kieran Trippier and Bruno Guimaraes are trying to keep spirits high in training, but some players seem unimpressed with the Isak saga and it is written all over their faces. Then Craig Hope absolutely, lost the plot in my opinion and said, exclusive! Newcastle baffled by Liverpool 110 million lowball offer for Isak, 10 million below informal offer. Sources believe they've strung along the striker. Anger at the conduct and suspicion they've bottled it. If there's anybody who's bottled it, Mr. Hope, it's you, sir. You. Next up, Chris Williams said, told via the players' camp that Newcastle have made it clear to Isak, no incoming, no outgoing. They're confident of a deal if the price is right. So again, as soon as they get a player, they'll sell. And then we had Paul Joyce say, Olympic Lyon are close to a deal worth 50 million for Tyler Morton. Al Hilal then entered the discussions for Darwin. This from Romano said discussions between Al Hilal and Darwin Núñez camp are still ongoing as Liverpool remain open to a permanent sale. Then we had Santi Aouna say Al Hilal are still in talks with Darwin Núñez camp, Uruguayan striker among the Saudi club's preferred options. Romano then said Liverpool's bid for Isak was 120 million. This is what Liverpool offered according to my sources. Also with the possibility to include add-ons as part of the package. Newcastle said no. Then he said, Newcastle said no to Liverpool's bid. This is probably why you see so many reports on Liverpool not willing to bid again. But internally, Liverpool know this is part of the game. It's still the beginning of August. There's still plenty of time left. Liverpool expected Newcastle to be strong in their position. The only way for this deal to happen is if Newcastle get a top striker. Then he said Newcastle showed their stance, is the players not leaving. If there is a replacement, let's see what's going to happen. Liverpool wanted to send that message, not only to Newcastle, but also to the player. They wanted to show the player that they're ready. They've sent a clear message to Alexander Isak. Then we spoke a bit about more interest from Al Hilal in Darwin Núñez. So look, you can see there from what I've gone through, the hoops that so many of these journalists have jumped through today. Back one way, then the other, then back one way, then the other, all being steered by clubs briefing them. So it ain't over. Liverpool will revisit this and Alexander Isak will eventually wear Liverpool's shirt. That's my take on it. But I'm not in your minds, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't feel the same way, no disrespect for me whatsoever. Right, let's keep cracking. Done that one, done that one, done that one. This one. David said, the media always seem to be against, they have no respect for us, so they can all get stickers. John said, evening, Craig. All VVD, Gravenberg, Maka, Wirtz, Isak, all absolute ball players and technical, and the wide players into that. It's frightening. Wow. Brilliant signing, mate. And do you know what's really given me loads of cause for optimism this summer? The faith that's been shown in young Rio already from the manager. You know, allowing Diaz to go. That must, like, young Rio must feel like, wow, this dude really believes in me. Because he brought him away pre-season, as well as trainee only. Giving him minutes. But not only that, now has shown him very clearly. There's a spot there for you, mate, to compete with Cody Gakpo. That's how highly we rate you. That's a big statement from Arna. Opusum said, Chimikas was on the kit reveal. Is he staying? The club won't show the beginning of a new era with somebody that leaves. There were talks about Robertson leaving as well. Do we see one as cover for centre-back? I very much hope not, because it's not a good enough solution for centre-back. Truth is, I don't know if anybody knows exactly what's going on between Costas and Robbo and Liverpool at the minute. I certainly don't know what the likelihood is of either one of them leaving. But I'm relaxed about it because we brought in Kirkes and we've improved the position. You know, if Liverpool want to keep both, cool, more options. But the honest answer for me is I don't know. And thank you. David Sweet said, do you think Isak will know about our bid? Oh yeah, of course. Definitely. Like was said there by a few journalists, this was as much to let him know we got you. We're here. We're going to do our part as well. Because he's doing his part. He's making it clear time and time again that he doesn't want to play for Newcastle. Yeah, okay. Sorry, just gone back through a few posts. Yorkshire Tea. What's your favourite shirt? Training stuff is so good. So, my favourite shirt wasn't yet released, which will be the green one, mate. It's gorgeous, and I can't wait for that to be released. But today, the home one. The home one just feels very Liverpool, and I love the colour of it. I even think the long sleeve version of it's really good as well. Wayne, thank you again for your patience, and others whose super chats I haven't gotten to yet. All I've ever wanted is Liverpool to act like a big club. They are, and they're finally doing it. Who would have thought all this spending was done thanks to Craig starting to waste the money, John? I'll do what I wish. I wish I could claim some responsibility for the spending, but ultimately, mate, that's all I've ever wanted either, was to show ambition. And certainly after we won the league, I wanted to show, you know, us to strengthen from a position of strength. And we have, and I'm a very grateful fan for that. Isak moving is days away. After an amazing summer transfer, do we carry on and get a centre-back? I think we have to, Will. You know, a centre-back's a big worry for me right now. Because we've sold Kwanzaa. We're getting good vibes about the Canade situation, but it's not yet secured. Gomez didn't go on the pre-season tour or he came back from the pre-season tour, because, you know, a niggle. So, you know, that's a concerning thought process before the season again. So I think we'd all sleep a little bit sounder if Liverpool did go in there and bring in another centre-back. And I expect them to, but that's the one position, like you, mate, I'm a little bit nervy about. Mark said, Craig, I already have the third shirt, had it for some time. You mean a fake one or a real one? Because fake ones, I've seen loads of them. Even when we did our show in Liverpool in the end of the season in May, the amount of the red home Liverpool shirts that were in the audience was nuts. The shirt hadn't even been released or announced yet. Crindle said, we won the league last year. We added Wirtz, Ekatike and the fullbacks this year. Isn't Isak a luxury, not a necessity? Well, I think it is a necessity. And I'll try to explain why, mate. So, look at it from a numbers game, if nothing else. So, Diogo obviously was taken from the world tragically with the accident. Darwin is going to move on. We've sold Luis Diaz and Chiesa is going to go. So, that's 4. Now, we know Arna wants 6 forwards. We know he wants 2 in every position. So even from a numbers game, we need another body. Now, if we need another body, Why not get the best one we can? And if Ireland's number one target is Isak, why not go for him? Yes, we could maybe move for Rodrigo. Yes, we could maybe move for Fofana. But why? We know the manager wants these targets. This summer was supposed to be about getting the number one targets and building a squad that's ready to try to dominate. So let's be firm in this and believe the manager's going to get his number one target. Finally found my wallet. No more spending. No Isak. Sorry, John. I'm not having it. We're going to have to talk. Look out for the DM. Ryan said, any news on Harvey? Transfer potential for Isak. I really don't know what's going on with Elliot. I know he would have been later back because, we had the under-21s and stuff, but I don't know what's going on with regards to a move for him or not. I think it'll come down to what Harvey wants to do. Again, there's still a whole month left in the transfer window. It's important that we keep talking about that. But I don't know what's going to happen. We know the numbers that have been put out there. 40 million if Liverpool have a buyback option, 50 million if not. We know that there are clubs in the Bundesliga interested. West Ham were interested. Brighton were interested. Originally, Newcastle's name was thrown around, but I think it'll just come down to him. Crindle said, to build on my previous comment about Isak being a luxury, not a necessity, we're building it up similar to Gyökeres to Arsenal. Too high an expectation. I don't mean to sound rude here, but to try to compare Isak to Gyökeres, I think we're falling into the trap of Arsenal fans deluding ourselves. We aren't expecting Isak to be the be-all and end-all. We're expecting him to be a contributor to a very good forward line that has Mohamed Salah, Ugo Ekitike, Cody Gakpo. So I would dare to say it's a different level. But again, I appreciate where you're coming from, my friend. Aaron said life would have been easier for everybody if Newcastle let Isak go and bought Ekitike in the first place. Yeah, it would have. But what I don't know is what Ekitike's stance was. So I agree with you, by the way, and I've said this myself, but maybe Ekitike had no interest in going to Newcastle. I don't know the answer to that one. But you're right, mate. Certainly, it could have been a bit less painful for Newcastle, maybe. You agree with Isak on AWOL, Craig? Kids up there love him and he's still taking 120k a week and people can't pay bills. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. So I never said that, mate. Never once. And if you go back and watch, and I hope people stick up for me on this one, if you go back and watch, mate, I've said umpteen times, I hate to see this, I don't like it happening, and we're all hypocrites. Because let's be honest, we're self-serving. If we want a player, we want them to do everything to get out. But how we can try to conflate that with people working hard for money, come on, that's a bit of a jump. But I don't like to see it. But this is what football clubs force players to do sometimes, to get that move away. They need to be vilified. And I don't like it, mate, not at all. I don't like it when it happens with us. I didn't like the Coutinho situation. But I'm certainly not okay with it. And I wished Newcastle could have dealt with this more civilly and understood. But ultimately, it's part of the dance. And to try and talk about kids up there working hard and Isak taking 120 grand a week, what the fuck has that got to do with it? Like, respectfully, what has that got to do with it? Isak's going to be getting paid one way or the other, whether he plays for us or somebody else. Still not going to change working class people's lives. So that was a bit of a leap, mate, respectfully. John said, I was glad to see we only just sold out Everton in shirt sales, though. Sold out Everton in shirt sales. Well, today's day one for us. And I can't wait to hear some of the numbers from it, when all the dust settles, to see quite how big an opening day sales it was. The club store, by the way, is looking brilliant as well. Deutscher, Copbite said, Craig, we need to see your Newcastle pose again. I don't know what my Newcastle pose is. Sorry, mate, I can't remember. Don't know what my Newcastle pose is. VI Joker said, anybody else remember when Arsenal tried to sign Luis Suarez from Liverpool? Yeah, I do, of course. 40 million and £1. But the difference is, that wasn't really a step up. this is a step up. I do think this will get resolved by the end of the window. We do need to get a centre-back. This position worries me. Gay or Cresswell will do for me. I'd love us to get Mark Gay, Carl. Yeah, I'd love us to get him, regardless of what happens with Canade, because I think it's just sensible. You know, a really good player for a reasonable fee, still pretty young, English international, homegrown. I think it'd just be good business. And I think you could convince him that between the rotation of himself, Virgil and Ibu, there'd be more than enough games for everybody. Nimrod Hurwitz said, I think the one thing that this Messi saga has shown us is how inconsistent and unreliable journalists can be, even the first tier ones. So I think it depends what you expect, right? So I know that half the stuff that is put out there is bollocks because it's about steering a narrative. And a journalist relationship with a club is only as good as the information they're given. And sometimes, and journalists will tell you this, sometimes they are a bit dubious about what they're being told by football clubs, but they play the game. So it's about looking for common sense a lot of the time. And all journalists, even the top tier ones, won't get everything right because football's a mad industry and it moves quickly. But today we've seen, like you've said, flip-flopping to an obscene amount. Flip-flopping, it's nuts. You know, 1 minute it's this, then 2 minutes later it's that, because they're all being briefed and they've got to toe the company line. Jamal, hey Craig, why people are overly worried? We're in the same position we were prior to the bid. It was always unlikely that they would sell without replacing Isak. He wants us, Slot wants him, and there's time. Exactly. Nothing has really changed in my eyes today, mate. Other than I was surprised, Jamal, that the bid went in. Because like yourself, I thought, well, maybe if they agree a deal for somebody, then the bid will come in. But I do think those who are using the thought process of this being assigned to Isak, I think that's probably the case. You know, we got you. You keep doing your thing. We're here. We want it to happen. We're waiting. Let's wait and see. That's the way I think about it, mate. And I think from your comment, you're probably the same. George said, happy 40th, Daniel. Enjoy the stadium tour tomorrow. So yes, Daniel, on your stadium tour tomorrow, have a great one. And happy 40th birthday, my friend. I'm so happy Wirtz has 7, said Ryan. So am I, mate. Absolutely buzzing. It just feels like a great fit. It really does. S4T said, I wonder if FSG would have spent like this after the 2020 win had it not been for the financial loss due to COVID. Unsure. You know, I've often asked myself why. And the best I can come up with, like I've said before, Ryan, is that one, they know Arna's proven himself and maybe cutting the cloth accordingly, and, you know, the new Annie Road end, the main stand being built up, not spending a lot in the last few windows. Maybe all of this and a smell of weakness or blood in the water from the likes of Man City who've dropped off a bit. Maybe they feel now is the time to make that big investment. And for whatever reason, whatever they've done, why ever they've done it, I'm just glad it's happening. VI Jokers said, I think Newcastle would take Harvey and Harvey to Newcastle. Well, look, if I was Harvey Elliott, I'd go. If I was going to leave, I'd go to Newcastle. You know you're going to be loved by a set of fans who, you know, are very vocal in their support for their players. It's a great place to play your football. Champions League football as well for Harvey. A good manager, a good young English manager. Yeah, I think it would be a very good move for him, but I don't know where Newcastle's heads are at with it, and I don't know what way Harvey's thinking either. Short or long sleeve new kit? For me, short, because I can't wear cuffs. You know, you always see me with sleeves up or whatever. But it does look nice in the long sleeves. Thank you for this one, Ryan, because I have. Craig has always said he does not like players going on strike to force a move because it causes a lot of toxicity, so I will back you up there. Thank you. Sometimes it's a necessity, but I really wish it wasn't. You know, I do. Because it doesn't benefit the fans. It benefits the selling club at times because they've been able to vilify somebody and save face, but it's just an unfortunate situation. Vert 7 sold 42,000 shirts in the first hour. That's crazy. Everton Super Chat is referring to the new shop, barely selling 300 quid's worth of stuff. They had whole barriers up. Oh, I've seen that, Mark, yeah. I didn't know whether that was real or not, though, to be honest with you, but that's crazy. 42,000 shirts in the first hour. Wow. Wonder what would have happened if Diaz hadn't been sold, though. That I would be a liar if I said I wasn't thinking a bit about that today as well. Because obviously Lucho only completed his move the other day. So yeah, it's mad. So let's look at some of the numbers then. 1 second. All right, 1 sec. So 22 for Ekitike, 12 for Connor Bradley, which is, it's either a coincidence or master shithousery. So 12 for Bradley, 7 for Florian Wirtz, 25 for Georgi Mamardashvili, number 6 for Kirkes, which apparently some people don't like. I don't mind him taking 6, kind of John Arnorisa vibes, to be honest about it. Is there any other numbers I've forgotten about there? Frimpong 30, which I think everybody expected him to take. Faris said, think we should keep Elliott as a Salah backup. He's not fast enough to play out on the wing, unfortunately. And we've got Frimpong, who can play up there as well. So, look, the problem is this. Like, again, let's remove all the emotion and all from it. The situation is 42 for Trey, thank you. So the situation is this. Last season, Harvey Elliott didn't get enough minutes. Enough so that it forced him into thinking about leaving. And you can see at the end of the season, in the last game, he was upset out there on the pitch because he had a feeling this might be goodbye. Then we've brought in Florian Wirtz and has only limited his opportunities even more so. So I just can't see a world where he stays and we can convince him of he'll get enough game time because he wants to go and play football. And he deserves to go and play more because he's too good to be sitting on a bench. Itachi, evening, my friend. What a day from 1 to 10. What number do you see Isak playing for us 1st of September? What number do you see Isak playing for us 1st of September? Yeah, I think it'll be done by the end of the window, is my gut feeling. Surely it takes 9, though, if Darwin goes to Al Ali. Or Al Hilal, sorry, I keep getting those mixed up. Surely it takes 9. Has to be. I don't want to go into a season if Darwin goes, we don't have a number 9. It would be criminal to leave the number 9 empty. It's just too big of a number. 9, 10, 11, 7, they can never be empty. 14 would be just wrong though, Ross. You know, number 9. It's got to be. You're coming in, being the guy, you're Liverpool's number 9, and you're coming in, following in the likes of Robbie Fowler and Rushy, and it's just, come on, it's got to be 9. Righteous Gamer said, Newcastle want 150 million. I don't think we'll put a second bid in and at least let Isak push for the move to unsettle Newcastle, to which hopefully they just take the 120. I don't think we get to 150 either, mate, and I think we're right not to get to 150. I think you'll see it done at about somewhere between 130, 140, maybe. Although we're still close enough to the 150 there, bro, aren't we? Robert said, much love and thank you. My pleasure, Robert, and thank you for your support, my friend. Right, folks, let's keep moving. Right, let's get into the chat. If you can, do drop a like on the stream for me as well. If you haven't subscribed, welcome into the channel. Please do. Kyle Lager said, Newcastle need to take some money to get rising talent for lower money and build out the squad for the Champions League. Can't focus on one player in the hopes of staying in the big show. Steve Highway, Fernando Torres said, Johnny Jaywick. Wayne said, the only problem with Isak is the way he's pushing for a move. Would have been better to push a move before the Ekitike transfer because will he do that to us in 2 years if Madrid comes in? So it's a fair question, but what I would say is this has always been a dream move for Isak. You know, go back and look at him in interviews previously. I think he sees this as the destination club, whereas Newcastle right now aren't the finished product. They aren't a Liverpool, Madrid, Barcelona. They just aren't. So he's making the big step to a club where if nothing else, he knows he can challenge for all the major honours. Properly challenge. So I don't think we'd have the same issues. No. Kylie said, I think we 100% sign Isak, as why would they keep a striker that does not want to play for them again? What happens in Newcastle striker department? Whatever happens in Newcastle striker department. Yes, exactly. And they also have to get a player in, which I understand completely. I would have been shocked if Newcastle accept the offer today, because then they're telling every club they're negotiating with, we've got loads of dough, and there's no excuse for lowballing. Eddie said, I'm not happy Ugo got 22, he should have got 9. Did you ever think for a second, maybe, Eddie, that he was happy with 22? Now, I don't know one way or the other, mate, but you can't give him 9 when Darwin's still at the club either. Let's not forget about that one. You can't just all of a sudden just say, hey, Darwin, you're gone, even though you're not gone, but here's 9. So you got to look at the optics from that side as well. Ryan said, poll suggestion, votes for vice captain, my vote goes to Maka. Well, there was a post the other day from a journalist that said it's Salah, but I don't know. And I don't really know why Arna's keeping it quiet either. You would imagine it's not that big of a thing. We've got a leadership group in the club between Virgil, Allison, Robbo, Mo. We've got senior players. We've got international club captains. So yeah, I don't see why all the secrecy about it personally. He wanted 22 because, like his name, be the same whichever way you read it. Now, there you go. When do you think the Isak deal will be done, said Stephen? When Newcastle get a forward. They ideally want 2, mate, but I think if they get one big forward in, it will push things along. Now, can we all take a second, and thank you, Mark, for reminding me of this, to pay tribute to Jimmy Milner. James Milner changed his Brighton squad number to number 20 out of respect and admiration, and of course for Diogo Jota. So again, just when I thought James Milner couldn't be any more loved and lovable, he goes and does this. What a man, what a sentiment, what a gesture. Just a class act, Jimmy Milner, from start to finish. What a man. Matt said, just love to Milner after taking 20 at Brighton. Yeah, absolutely, Matt. It's he's just a dude, isn't he? He's just a fucking legend. Nothing else to say. Like, what an absolute legend Jimmy Milner is. If Coutinho was worth 140 way back in 2018, but he didn't. That was Euro, mate. Euro, 140. Check the Palace lineup today for their friendly. Gay not on the team. A sign maybe. I honestly don't know, mate. I have nothing to say to you on the centre back situation that I could give you a definitive answer on. I haven't got a clue. Like everybody, I'm kind of a little bit perplexed as to why we haven't moved for a centre back yet. So the only thing I could think about was wait and see what Canada wants to do, but the fact that nobody else really seems to be going for Mark Gay at this moment in time is a bit of a weird one as well, right? Because you think loads of clubs would be going, right, top centre-back, 1 year to go, 40 million quid, England international, homegrown, captain material. There has to be some reason why there's not a load of clubs moving from. It just doesn't make sense. Sicily Bambolina said, my hubby was once asked who we'd like to have a beer with. He said Jurgen and Millie. Nice. Yeah, good shout. Good shout. Jimmy Milner doesn't drink though, but I guess he could have the tea and your hubby could have the beer. I'd imagine that'd be fun. Salah will probably move into the middle as he gets older, and that would be even more competition for Elliott. I love the new kit. I love the new kit as well. I thought we may have seen Salah go centrally Stargirl by now, but there's been no sign of it. I don't know. But I think we'll all agree he could bang in goals in there, but no sign of it yet. What is Anthony Gordon thinking? He thought he was coming last year and Newcastle couldn't make it work, and now we're in for Isak. Also, big up Millie. So, actually, what Anthony Gordon said today was that he's relieved not to be involved in a transfer story. He said this is the first in 3 years or something. He's had a proper break, he's mentally rested, and he hasn't had any transfer dramas going on. So, he actually feels quite good about life at the minute. He's enjoying his football. He set up in Newcastle, feels settled in and ready to go. I'm sure there was disappointment when the Liverpool move didn't happen, but yeah, he seems happy and content up there. IFI Must said, Craig, do you think Liverpool and Newcastle are working together to appear that the Isak deal may not happen so they can get a forward at the right price? I don't know. I really don't know, but all I feel confident in saying is that this just isn't over yet by a long way. Today was a case of Newcastle trying to vilify Liverpool, or at least that's how it looked in the media, and saying that we've bottled it, as Craig Hope tried to say, which is just shocking. Then to say, we've led the player on, strung him along. I mean, it's just a load of bollocks to try and save face. Jordan Peter Lee Jones said, I'm loving this Isak saga either way it goes. I look at it like a little bonus on top of what we've done already. Exactly. I'm not going to lose a minute's sleep if we don't get Isak. I'll probably lose more sleep if we do get him, in a good way, with excitement. But yeah, either way, our window isn't reliant on this transfer one way or the other. We've done great business. Centre-back is the pressing concern for Liverpool fans right now because we need one. But other than that, great business and very optimistic going into the new season. Rafa said, Lord Craig, thanks for the content over the summer. WhatsApp is my go-to for info. Do we have to win the Premier League and Champions League if we get Isak, and is the pressure off Arsenal? I suppose we have to, but yes, the expectation would be to go big. And like I've said before, pressure is a pleasure. It's a privilege. Because to be under this pressure, you've got to be doing something right. So I think these type of characters that we have at the club are those that expect to be working and dealing under this pressure every day and rise to the occasion. So expectations are rightly going to be high going in this season, but I don't know if anybody's arrogant enough to ever say we are just going to do this and win that. And by the way, one story that came out today that I wanted to just read out to you, because a few months ago people were talking about Hakimi and asking me why aren't we signing him? And I said to you, we can't sign him. Something's happening. Don't want to talk about it publicly because it had gone quiet for a long time. And then today, Transfer News Live posted to say, Hakimi is facing up to 15 years in prison for rape charges. He has always maintained his innocence and argued he was accused for financial gain. The prosecutor's office has just requested the indictment of the player before the criminal court. So he's got a lot on his plate to deal with there. And that I couldn't talk about that publicly, even though it was known in football circles that this was hanging over his head. Look, I have no idea in the ins and outs of it. Don't have a clue. Not my place to say, but just bringing it up because it's been spoken about quite a bit in the channel. People go, why aren't we going after this guy? Or that was always hanging over. Could be fake. It's not fake. It's not fake. You can Google and go back and look at the allegations from 18 months, 2 years ago, mate. This has been going on quite a while. Now, again, I'm not saying he's guilty or innocent. I haven't got a clue. Don't know enough information about the story. But it's certainly not a fake story. Patsy Bailey said, what if Slot can't tell us because Canade becomes vice captain? I still don't know why he couldn't tell us that. Doesn't necessarily have to say Canade is signing a new deal, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really mind, Patsy, who it is. I don't mind who it is, but let's wait and see. Colbin said, hey Craig, mate, love you, thanks for the streams. I appreciate that, buddy, thank you. Right, I'm going to get through this super chat and then I'm going to get to recording the late video because there's a lot of updates again to go through. Itachi said, Isak now knows we want him badly. He's pushing as well. Newcastle can't stand that long. They need the money. I think 80 million up front and 50 million next year will make the deal. It's kind of what Dave O.C. Cop was mentioning as well, mate, earlier on. Those kind of numbers. Yeah, I think 130 will get it done eventually. Blazing Wolf said, what I'm reading on X is crazy. I've seen multiple Newcastle fan accounts mocking and hoping Fabrizio Romano hurts himself, is what I'm going to say. Madness from their fans. I look, this is the side of this I hate. This is why I'm not on social media. I don't like it. I don't like when people go this way. It's so unnecessary. It's complete bullshit. And we can all dislike people. I dislike many, many people. But I would never wish harm on anybody. And to go this way, it tells you more about them than anybody else. Like, it's pathetic, quite frankly. And I would dare to say no football fan wants these type of low-life scumbags attached to their clubs. And I'm not vilifying Newcastle fans here because we all know every fan base has their fair share. But it's just sad to see it play out publicly like that and to see people be so vicious. It's just sad. James said, Milner is a shout for the most underrated player of recent years. Nobody should forget when Liverpool won 2020, he was the only player with Premier League title winning XP. He's just a legend of the game, full stop. Just a great pro, a model to anybody coming through. Yeah, just an absolute legend. Love Jimmy Milner. Right, ladies and gents, I'm going to go record this late night update. So I will see you all tomorrow. We won't be live on Sunday night, but we will be live tomorrow. So we'll have a news video in the afternoon. Then we'll have a late night agenda and a late night video. Obviously, Monday we've got the double header. We'll be live from 4 p.m, taking you right through till 10 o'clock. If you can, drop a like for me before you head off. Thank you so much to everybody coming in tonight. I hope we've at least alleviated some of your concerns. Maybe we haven't, I don't know. But I tell you, I appreciate you guys for coming in and spending some time with me. So we'll talk tomorrow. Much love.